This palette gets sealed very tightly. It's kind of hard to open up again once you seal it. It's kind of hard to seal it too, because this is very, very snug when you put it down. And you kind of have to just kind of bang on it a whole bunch and press it a whole bunch to get it in place. But, yeah, we're good now. Well, let's see, what's the damage on our palette today? We actually haven't used that much in the way of colors. Yesterday was pretty, I don't know if I want to call it a slow day, but it wasn't a real fast day as far as colors go. I think we were kind of generous with a lot of the things that we put on here. And if anything, I think that the Prussian blue was getting used a whole lot. That's probably the one we used the most yesterday. I always do use a lot of Prussian blue. No sense in not using it. It's a really cheap color. It's very, very inexpensive. Pretty much every line you look at, it's the cheapest color on the line. I think we're all set here. We got our mud color over there. We got a little bit more Prussian blue. All the colors are looking neat. Yeah, let's get going, guys. I suppose let's start with ultramarine, because let's try and get some of the shadow color down here. I think maybe we'll slip some of the mud color into all this. We might as well just scoop up the whole batch and see what we can do with it. There isn't that much mud color to go around right now, but maybe we'll get some results that surprise us here. I hope that we do get something. Let's see what we got. Okay. Yes, some of this isn't too bad. Let's just sneak it in over here. Yeah, we'll sneak it in like right there. Okay. Get a little bit of a surprising ultramarine color going on. Maybe a little something going on here too. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, that actually kind of creates more of a subtle blend right there than what we had, so I don't mind that at all. And maybe we'll put in another little slice right about there. That's decent. Yeah, what the heck. We'll just slip this over here too. All these shadow colors are going to be going to about, yay far on this. Not going to extend all that high over on this side, I don't think. No, not really. But over here, it's going to go to about maybe almost the middle. I mean, almost the middle, but not quite. There. That's alright. Okay. We'll just maybe put a little something down there, too. Okay. That's fine, and there'll be a little slice going up in here. Okay. We got some interesting things happening there with that first color we put down. Let's find something a little bit moodier. Yeah. And I think we'll use our Prussian blue for that. Well, you know, Prussian blue is kind of a moody color, so what better color to set the mood than that one? I think I'm going to use just a little bit more. I'm debating how much alizarin crimson I want to get up in this. I don't know yet. But I kind of like this color that I whipped up right here. Let's just put that down right there, and then a little bit more on that side. A little bit over here in these areas. There. And maybe we'll just go on over these edges. It's not bad. It might be, I wonder if it might be a little too dark, if we should maybe consider adding some white to this. Yes, think about adding a little white. Lighten it up a little bit. Don't want to add too much white. We still want this pretty dark, but I feel like one value step higher on that would do well. You guys wonder sometimes what I mean when I say value. I don't know how many artists we have out there in the audience, but value is a particularly important concept in art. What it refers to is the lightness or darkness of a color. And that's important because without the lightness and darkness, there's not much going on in a picture. Lightness and darkness is kind of the most important thing in a painting. It's kind of hard to say. Well, there's a lot of important things in painting, but lightness and darkness help establish, well, the darks and the lights. It helps, it just helps fill out the form. It helps fill out the shapes. It helps them make them look three-dimensional is the idea behind that. And like I say, it's a little bit more complex than just trying to isolate one concept and say, hey, this is the most important thing in art and all that. Because, you know, all the pieces work together. You have to think holistically when you start thinking of art. How everything affects the other. How all these pieces fit together. You have to be able to look at the big picture when you're painting, guys. That's the takeaway here. The big picture. I feel like I bring this up sometimes, but when I was in art school, there were a lot of guys, a lot of people that did not see the big picture when they were doing their art. There were a lot of artists there that were obsessed with detail, but they were completely missing the point. They weren't focused on composition, and their pieces suffered for it because they were so concentrated on minute details instead of the things that they should have been worried about. The whole exercise of everything we were doing became a lot harder for them. Now, some of them were very good artists. Some of them had a lot of talent, but they still had a much harder time than, say, me, because I'm not going to let you guys in on a secret. I was, in some of my painting classes, and definitely my watercolor class, I was fairly inebriated for one reason or another, but it was kind of dumb, but I was. And yet, despite that, I was still able to paint better than most of them because I still understood composition even when I was drunk. And some of those compositions I whipped up from back then are not bad. Obviously, compared to, say, now, some of the things I was doing were still pretty amateurish, but I was still doing better than a lot of my classmates, sadly. So that speaks something to where their head was in terms of composition. Where my head was at the bottom of a bottle of Bacardi. That's, well, you know, in hindsight, everything's 20/20. That's all in the past. But I guess maybe it just, again, speaks volumes to how far talent can carry you. Well, obviously, it's carried me all the way to YouTube, so I don't know what to think of that. Well, art's tough in 2025, guys. It really is, because honestly, no one really cares about art anymore. That's the straight facts right there. No one really cares about art, guys. There's people that say they do, but, I mean, you look at everything around you, no one really cares about it. Maybe I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm down on myself. Maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit here. Maybe I'm just pessimistic. But occasionally I see what all the other art channels on YouTube are doing, and one of the most popular ones, I don't think she even makes any paint. I don't want to name any names. I don't feel like that'd be a very classy move, but I don't think she actually creates any artwork. I went looking for her artwork, and this particular person, I couldn't find anything on the internet. That was sad to see, because I was curious. You know, well, she's very popular. What does she do? I wondered myself. What's she like to make? And the answer appeared to be nothing. Hmm. Yeah. Well, I guess that's about the kind of world we're living in right now. Everything is vibes and no substance. Hmm. I notice that with a lot of genres, not just painting. If you go on gaming stuff, a lot of gaming channels, a lot of them will be just vibes, no substance. Like, they'll make all kinds of videos about the lifestyle and everything, but you won't ever actually see them playing games. Now, that's not always the case, because there are a fair number of them that like to show off. I remember being on Instagram a little while ago and saw a guy doing his thing, and eventually he actually started doing live streams where he was playing games, so I thought that was pretty cool. He's a pretty chill guy. But he was mostly doing lifestyle stuff, and then he's just like, well, you know what, I'm going to start playing games to go along with all these posts, and he did that, and hey, I'm all for it. Hmm. You know, I love ultramarine guys, but sometimes it feels like my ultramarine is getting in the way of my painting. But I'm still going to keep out my ultramarine here because it's just such a useful color. Now, here I am talking smack about ultramarine, even though it's literally one of the most beautiful colors on the palette. Yeah, that sounds like me. Hey guys, today I hate ultramarine, but tomorrow I'm going to love it. Honest. Yeah. Now, what we're going to do is, I think we're going to mix in a little bit more white here, just so maybe this kind of balances out the very vibrant hue. Looking for something, yeah. Ultramarine is a tricky color sometimes. It's one of the all-time mixers for sure. But sometimes it's hard to get just the right color you're looking for when you're looking for a very specific blue. But every so often I get Prussian blue in the mix, and the two of them, God, the two of them have some kind of relationship. It's like they're it's like they're friendly rivals. Okay. I think I have something I can work with here. Yeah. That should be vibrant enough. Perfect. Okay. We still have to work on some of our flesh tone stuff today, so I don't know how carried away I want to get with this, but yeah, we'll slip this in. Okay, that's pretty tight. And maybe we'll add a little something over here too. Maybe over in here. We'll add just a little color right there. That's not too shabby. Here, I'll add just a smidge of white over here into this color. Feels like it needs it. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a little while to get used to a new brand of paint. I've been wondering what I'm going to do after my stash of Permaba colors runs out, because it's going to run out eventually, guys. And I've just been asking myself, what am I going to do? And the answer is I'm probably just going to start using some Winsor & Newton and Gamblin colors, because, I mean, those are like some of the best oil paints right there, and also some of the most affordable oil paints for like professional painting. And plus I kind of like using some different colors that are very specialized, and only those two companies really make them. Winsor & Newton is just a brand that's been with me for the longest time. I've painted with their stuff for years and years and years. But, and obviously so, because, God, they just, their colors just work, man. There's the facts right there. Let's, try getting a little bit of this cadmium yellow color in here. I want to see what this looks like when I mix it up together. Okay. I put cadmium yellow deep in with my Prussian blue mix, or my Prussian blue and my ultramarine mix, hoping to get a little bit more of a, I guess you could say duller color. I don't even know if duller is the right word. I'm just trying to give it sort of a greenish shift, but not too hard. I want to shift towards green, but not too much. I'll just add a little bit more Prussian to that, just the lightest touch of Prussian. And honestly, most of the time, that's all you need. So, I was saying that there's a few special colors that I like using from those brands, and the ones that come to mind are like a cobalt green that Winsor & Newton makes that I'm very fond of. I've used it on a couple of paintings, but then I'm also fond of anthraquinone red, which Gamblin makes as their permanent alizarin crimson. I've been debating whether I want to switch to a permanent alizarin crimson instead of or just a regular alizarin crimson, because I've been using a regular alizarin crimson for a while. And it's not a bad color, but it does run the risk of fading over time, unfortunately, depending how much sunlight it gets. I think a lot of I think it's not that big of a deal. I like the way that alizarin crimson handles. It feels good under the brush. That's one big thing about a lot of painting, or a lot of colors, is just, I don't know, how's it feel under the brush? Because sometimes colors just have a certain way they feel that works, and you gotta have things that way, or else it might not work. Here, let's add just a touch of ultramarine to this. Right there. I feel like I need a little bit of a transition color or something. Yeah, I'm looking for another color here, and I'm just not finding it. That's a little bit better. Okay. Maybe we'll let it go for right now. Like I say, like I've been saying, I kind of want to just concentrate on getting, for the most part, just the basics in here. And we might be going a little overboard. Maybe. Let's wipe off the knife, I think. And start with some sap green. And take a little cadmium yellow, deep. A little white. for this background here. It's a very light color, like you've seen. It's very greenish, but it's very, very pretty what we're working with. It's an unexpected mix of colors, but sometimes when you are very familiar with colors, sometimes things surprise you, you know. And you have to be open to all those weird colors that come your way. Sometimes it's just like that, guys. Okay. This might actually be good because I've neutralized it with some of the... I've neutralized this sap green and cadmium yellow deep mix with some of the blue that we were using. I might have to get some more white paint on my palette eventually because I am kind of running out. Here, one more round of white, I think, and we'll be in the ballpark. Let's just see how this looks. Yeah, it's not too shabby. Things are looking our way, guys. Okay. Yeah, I think we got it. Yeah, if not, it's close enough. Close enough for rock and roll. Close enough for artwork. Okay. Here we go, guys. Let's go for it. So, this color that we're going to put in here is going to go to about yay distance. Okay. Notice how we put a little bit of a highlight earlier in this color. There's going to be a little bit of a... Let's do this. Let's put this right in here. I think I want the middle of this right about in here. Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you what. While we're messing around with all this, let's start thinking about our flesh tones, because we need to put a few in a minute. And meanwhile, I'm going to use this shadow color here to sort of notate where I want things to go. Right about here is where I believe there's going to be a little shadow right there. Okay. That's good. That's good. Alright. Now with that, let's start thinking about our shadow. Or not our shadow, but our flesh tone, which I think might be a little bit simpler than what we've been doing here. Now, flesh tones are neither difficult nor hard or easy. They're just kind of somewhere in between, and the best place to start with it is just, honestly, take a little alizarin crimson, a little cadmium yellow. Use a cadmium yellow medium, I think, with the alizarin crimson, and that'll get you most of the way there. You can kind of mess around, add a little bit of yellow ochre in there if you want to, but I don't know. You don't have to. Yellow ochre is more of a suggestion than anything. I use it sometimes, but it's kind of just shorthand to get you where you want to go. Okay, let's add just a touch of blue to this, I think. Touch of ultramarine. And then I think we've got the magic. And honestly, a flesh tone color is just sort of a dance between those three colors on your palette, the red, the blue, the yellow. Here's where we're gonna mark down this toe that's coming out. And it's gonna go to about right here. It's gonna go down to around right there. Okay. Let's see if we can capture that shape. Hope that we can. I think we're going to. Yeah, I think we've just about got it here. That's not looking bad at all. Okay. It's a very muted color, isn't it? That's why I recommend using alizarin crimson. Alizarin crimson is just like giving yourself a free ride as far as painting things like this are. As far as painting flesh tones, alizarin crimson just does it pretty much immediately. Now you can use, I would recommend using a little bit of cadmium red light and alizarin crimson to create flesh tones, because the two of them just work so well together at doing it. Now you could use a lot of yellow ochre and stuff to do it too, but I think that there's a little bit more character in using cadmium yellow, because it just adds something to the mix that you don't get with a yellow ochre. The yellow ochre's fine, it's just it lacks the vibrancy, and it just doesn't play with the color the same way. There's a greater range, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at, which, you know, obviously there's a greater range. Alright, I'm adding some white to the flesh tone color that I mixed. I think a lot of you guys out there will probably be tempted to add, to use like a brown or something, to use like a burnt umber to start your bases for your colors. That's a bad idea, because there's just such a wide variety of flesh colors, guys. There's such a crazy variety of flesh colors that you should really consider using the blue and starting with that, and then the red and the yellow. So I've added a little bit more alizarin crimson in here. And we're kind of just gradually lightening this toe, I would say. It's going to be a little bit of a... There's going to be all kinds of little colors going on in here. I don't know, flesh is weird. There's a lot of different things going on all at once, guys. It really is. So you can't be afraid to... Well, you just can't be afraid to try things. Here, let's get a little of the yellow, because maybe something is going to be a little bit more orange. Already I'm kind of seeing a little bit more of a dull orange color that's somewhere in there. And it's going to be relatively vibrant. Sometimes I swear painting flesh tones is just, well, it's just one of the most interesting things about art. Trying to find that right color, that right balance of colors. And it always surprises you. Truly it does. Here, let me throw a little something down in here too, because that toe needs a little something. Okay. I'll take this. And the toe is lightening. It's lightening bit by bit. It's looking very, very complex as we're going, guys. I don't know. Are we going to be surprised? I don't know if surprise is the right word. Everything is going pretty much according to plan right now. Aside from the hair that I just had to pluck out of my paint. Yeah, that happens too. I guess there's something to be said for cutting your hair, but I'll never do it. I can't be bothered to. Just makes me feel... It makes me feel free. Does that make me a hippie? I don't know. Don't think about it that much. Okay. There's some slightly more complex things that are going on here, but maybe we'll save some of them. I don't know, guys. But there. It's pretty interesting in its own right. Alright, we don't want to waste any of this, guys. Any of this color. But we do have some more skin that we have to do down here very briefly. So, let's look for a little yellow here. Add some of that. And we'll just use what we've already done as sort of a basis for it. Okay. Add a little white. And I think we're almost in the ballpark. Yeah, we're almost in the ballpark, guys. Considering whether I want to just go ahead with that or whether I want to add more white. And we're going to add more white. Because that's just the kind of guy I am. I think for a change I might have actually made this too light. Nah. That's alright. Just make sure my brush is a little clean before I do this. Yeah. Okay. So let's make sure that this right about here, we're going to go to about yay high, right about there, to about yay far, right about here. Okay. just make sure that we're not pushing things too far. Well, we're going to push things a little further over here, but I feel like this distance that we have going on right now is about right. Yeah, is about the curve that we're looking for. And we'll just give this a little something down here too. Okay. This is all very fine. So, this is a pretty good peach color. Wasn't necessarily looking for a very good peach color, but you don't necessarily go looking for a peach color. Sometimes the peach color just finds you. And honestly, if you want to, somewhere along the way, if you want to slip in a little, oh, I don't know, slip in a little yellow ochre or something into the mix, get that mix a little bit slightly dulled down. And just go up in here. I mean, that's a conceivable way to do it. You can also just use some of the sap green and the cadmium yellow deep mix, which is not a bad way to do things, and make it lean a little bit more toward that cadmium yellow deep. Because interesting things do happen when we get that all mixed up. Cadmium yellow deep, such a fascinating color. Sometimes it feels like we could just do this dance all day with these colors, you know? It's easy to get lost in it. Alright, let's focus here for a second. We need to think about what we want to do with the pants over in here. And suppose we'll lead with Prussian blue and a little of the alizarin crimson, guys. There's a definite violet bent to the pants. And it's very, very red. Definitely has a strong alizarin crimson bent to it. Okay. Let's focus on like the mid-tone first before we do anything else. And there'll be some good separation right there. Putting that purple in between the toes like that. And way down in here. And see how we're already... Sometimes it feels like... I don't want to say painting is easy, because it's not easy. Painting is hard, just like drawing is hard. But when you do it for a long time, boy, it does get a lot easier. Yeah, it sure does. It's a lot simpler to just do things when you, or just try things out when you've been doing it for a long time. The risks don't feel as risky. Okay, let's notate this shape right here. It's gonna go right about there. And there's gonna be a little curve. Right about there. Okay. And I guess we could continue this over here. Yeah, that's fine. I think next time we'll probably concentrate on trying to get a little bit more of that same flesh tone. It's a very light color compared to everything else we've done, but I think it's going to kind of set the tone for some of the other flesh colors that we have to do, because some of them are very light. Some of them are insanely light. And it's just how it is sometimes, guys. Sometimes you paint a color and think, hey, we have the right color here, and then it turns out, actually, I think I might want to try something else out. I think I might want to go for a different color in here. That's fine. You can change your mind anytime you want on the color. It's not like you're married to your choices when you're painting. That's something that you should remember. You can always change your mind when you're painting. You know, it's like Bob Ross used to say, it's your world. You know, you do whatever you want. It's not wrong. It's your world. If you want to change it, go ahead. Go nuts. No one's going to stop you but you. Okay, I think I have the dark color that I'm looking for here. Yeah. These dark colors that I find, that I talk about, are never really as dark as they initially seem. Yeah. Always seems like they never turn out to be that dark. Actually, you know, when you start really applying it, yeah, it is kind of dark, isn't it? There I go, selling myself short again. Yeah. God, that happens all the time when you're painting, guys. Even when you've done this a whole bunch, you still sell yourself short. You still second guess yourself. Yeah, you know, I think that's just being human. There's nothing wrong with asking yourself questions. That's intellectual curiosity at work when you ask yourself questions and you're not sure if something's going to work. You might even say it's the scientific method, guys. And I'd say, well, you're right about that. Alright. I think that set of pants right there is probably pretty good for right now. It's a little basic, but it's fine. It's fine. Let's concentrate on the backdrop for the rest of this, I think. The backdrop, aka the part that we're probably gonna not put too much thought into. I don't know. But that feels about right. Alright, let's see here, guys. I think we want a little bit more violet on this color that we're whipping up. Just a little light violet. I want it to be a lot lighter than what I've just done here. So maybe we'll mix it into some of this paint off to the side. So I kind of have a big pile of this color that I whipped up, that I currently have some mixed feelings about. How's it looking? Well, looking pretty okay. I think I just need to focus on trying to some of the colors that are in the shadows, if you guys know what I mean, because there's a lot of little things going on in the shadows, guys. Like over in here, right about here, there's like this little thing going on right here. There's that blue going on right about there. Okay? And there's also little things going on in there's different violets and blues and all that. And that's probably why I'm using a lot of sap green here. It's because there's a lot of violet in the shadows. So it makes sense that we're using so much sap green at that point. Because guess what the complement to sap green is? Well, it's violet. I'm gonna drive myself a little crazy here, aren't I? Yeah, maybe. Oh, man. Well, at least we're piecing together bit by bit. It's taking us a hot second to get there, but hey, we're getting there, guys. Okay. Just using a lot of white on this color here. Using a lot of white on this sap green that I've whipped up, for better or for worse. It's okay, I think this is going to work out, guys. Okay. Let's go right here too. Okay. This is starting to look alright. This is starting to work for me, guys. It's taking a little bit of know-how to make this happen, but this is starting to work out for me. Yeah. This is where the good stuff is, guys. Okay, let's just try to get a little bit more of this in there. It's another highlight. I'm thinking to myself right now that we may want to make this larger for one, but also we may want to think about what's going to go right next to the violet there. And Well, the violet, the sap green could work for that, I think. Over in here we may want to slip a little bit of maybe some extra blue in there or something, you know, to help balance out the flesh tones. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay. Alright, let's make sure that we're taking some of the violet and mixing this together properly, getting it light enough that we can make this work, because we're going to put it in the shadows. Yeah. Let's see how that works against each other. Okay. Maybe just a touch more. How's that look? It doesn't look too bad. Okay. Okay, let's just debating whether I want to make this even lighter than I already have. I don't know. I might. It's very, very tempting. I don't know. I feel like I've already done a lot to make this very, very light. We may want to consider just pushing the color as it is. I wonder what this will look like when it's all done. I don't know. It's part of the thrill of painting, I think. The thrill of discovering what it's all gonna be like when it's over. Oh man. All right, let's think about something here for a second. There, let's go ahead and slap that down there. Right here. Okay. Okay. Alright, how much? I'm trying to think right now. I'm going to throw a little bit of a flesh tone in here and just do this. And we'll see what it looks like. And hopefully it doesn't look too bad. Now, I think if we throw the flesh tone in there, that'll look real nice against what we've done. Yeah, it's very subtle, but I think it'll work out. Okay, that was a lot more work than I think we thought it was going to be, huh? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it is work that will pay off in the long run. Plus, we've got ourselves a substantial amount of this mud that we're mixing together now, guys. God, I can just imagine the conniptions people might be having right now over mixing all these colors together. But also, at the same time, it's not like we're not going to be using this again. This is all going to help us in the long run with our painting. I was pretty surprised by a few things today. The shadow colors, the revelation of the sap green against violet, guys. I don't know why I was so surprised by it, but I think it's just that, I don't know, you hear a color like sap green, you think to yourself, well, that's obviously for landscape painting, right? And it turns out, no, it's actually for a lot of different things. I actually have a good friend who is, I got a good friend who is an oil painter, a figurative painter. I mean, oil painter's a given, but he's a portrait painter, a figure painter. He paints people, and he uses sap green quite frequently. I don't know how we got to talking about it, but eventually we start talking about what colors we used. And he thought that my colors were very curious. He thought that my color choices were oddball. And he wasn't wrong. Because there's a few colors I like that are a little bit off the beaten path, I think. I think the big ones anymore are probably like cobalt green and Prussian blue, because not that many people use those anymore. Not really. Okay, I think we got things all mixed up, guys. And we're about ready for another painting sesh. So let's call this a good day, guys. That was nice.